Alright, so if you're watching this video, either you've decided to take up my option of showing you what to buy before you start knitting, or you just are bored and want to see my rantings. Either way, let me start. So, I want to give you a couple of pointers that I wish I had before I had started knitting. The first thing that you want to know before you start knitting is make sure that you get the right yarn and the right needles. I did not when I first started. I got a horrible yarn and ended up getting cabling needles, which I'll explain later, but it was not a good idea. So before you go out, if you do want to learn to knit, a couple of suggestions I have to make. The first suggestion is start with big yarn. We're talking very big yarn, much like this project. This is what I first started with. This is a very thick yarn, a very heavy yarn. It's also, you'll notice, light in color. That makes it easier to see when you're first starting to learn. It's very, very important. Now, when you pick out your yarn, there's a couple of things that you're going to want to look at on the label. There's actually instructions that tell you what size needle to get. It tells you, if you want to crochet, it tells you what size crochet hook to get. Each one has a little bit different. You may be able to see right there. It's probably not very clear, but there's a couple of instructions. This says knitting needles use a size 9 to 11, which is a 5.5 to 8 millimeter needle. I'll show you those in a little bit. Or the crochet hook, which I don't care about because I'm not crocheting. Something else that you'll always find on your yarn is care instructions. This actually tells you, when you give this to somebody, what they should do to wash it. Another thing, that if you're going to do a project, you're going to want to make sure that you get all the same color. This is known as the dye lot. This is something that you're going to want to look for. It's a number. It usually is going to say lot number or dye lot number. Make sure that that matches on every skein of yarn that you get. Otherwise, you're going to end up with different colors, and it's going to look weird at the end. So, big yarn to start with, and make sure you watch the number of the needle that you're getting. Next, we have the needles themselves. Now, I was a psycho and went out and bought every needle that I could find. Let me show you these. These are my biggest needles. You'll notice at the top, they actually give a size. It's blurry, but it's there. These are size 10s. They're size 15s. They're 10 millimeters. Now, you don't have to buy one of these. It's just really handy to have. You're going to want scissors. Very important for cutting the yarn. And something that you'll probably want is these. This is called a yarn needle. It's a lot bigger needle. It's for sewing in the ends of your yarn afterwards, which once you start actually making stuff, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So those are the tips that I have for you to begin with. Things that I wish I had known at first that I didn't. So if you do want to start knitting, start there, and maybe I'll make another video and show you how to cast on, how to knit, and how to cast off.